Good day, everybody. My name is Derek Arcee, and this is Artsy Studio. This is my first official video, live painting. What's interesting is that this is something that I have been aspiring to do for a while. And it's been a journey. And so the intention of this YouTube channel is because I'm in a position now where I feel like it's time for me to really hone in on my passion, my dreams, and not allow this gift to just simply be a hobby, right? And I felt like this was a good opportunity to be vulnerable, because there's many people out there that are waiting to take that same are in the same position, like to take that next step, to figure out when is the actual appropriate time to just start, right? And I feel like when we tend to overthink those aspects, it ends up becoming more complicated than it needs to be, right? And certain life things happen, like living situations, just life itself. And I've been there tons of time and time again. I've been there, and I've allowed my circumstance, or whatever the situation was, whatever was taking place at the time, I allowed it to consume me to the point where I didn't take that step I needed to take. So it's been a journey for me personally, and there's a lot of things that I'm into, there's a lot of things that I do, but the art has always been my number one thing. Since I was a child, it's been my number one thing, and I feel as though this time right now I'm in just a space that I can literally be me. I can literally achieve this now. And let me tell you, everything is mindset. Everything is, how do you view this? Sometimes we get caught up in a perspective of where we want to be, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because we should all have goals, but we get too caught up in the future, in the goal, instead of focusing on the steps to get there, right? Like, I know we've all heard, you gotta crawl before you walk, and that's absolutely true. We have to. It's something that we have to reflect on constantly. And so I figured that this is like my intro video. This is me introducing myself. This is me kind of putting it all out there. And this is a brand new YouTube channel. I've explored quite a few YouTube channels. I've started to grow pages, then I stopped. And I've allowed discouragement. Discouragement has been one of my biggest challenges. Like that's I will, and I'm pretty sure a lot of creatives struggle with the same thing. And it's terrible. But this is why we need to identify these things and get it from the root, and make the decision, like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not gonna allow discouragement to consume me anymore, you know? So when I personally wake up in the morning now, I wake up and I think about a few things when it comes to my art. I think about, am I gonna waste this talent, this gift, right? Because this is, I look at it like it's a gift. And you know, it's that's the question that I get every day. What's going to drive me to wake up every morning, early in the morning, before the world is up, to start developing my art brand, to start developing my art company, my art studio. These are things that I've attempted to do for so many years. And my wife and my children, they play a huge role in inspiration now, because now I look at it like, okay, this is gonna be like the stamp of a legacy. And many people may not understand that, but that's just simply what it is. So I'm 35 years old. I have a beautiful family at home. I have been doing art since I could remember, since my early childhood, 5-6 years old. Art has always been the thing that keeps my, like, it kept my innocence, right? And what I mean by that is, it's just such a beautiful thing that can allow me to escape from the adult things, right? Like bills, life, stress. Like, so my art is almost another realm where I can create, and it's therapeutic. And so what's amazing is that since I was a kid and I was like fully into art, I mean, my imagination at 6 was so much more broad than it is today. Why? Well, because we have the internet. We never had the internet in the 90s, you know, especially not like the way it is now. So I used to be able to look at something from a coloring book and draw it on another piece of paper. I was able to unlock a whole nother level of imagination when I was that young. You know, I loved toys. I loved collecting action figures, which I still do. By the way, I'm a big kid. But the art was just that space that I can just, it didn't matter what I created, I was just able to be completely free. Like, it was like the highest state of liberation. And so growing up, you know, life takes its courses, and mind you, by the way, I come from a family that's just super artistic. So, you know, my grandfather was like super good at, like, I remember as a kid when I used to go to my grandmother's house on the weekends, my grandfather used to just draw, and just, you know, he used to just freestyle it. Like, he used to just do like superheroes, and, you know, he had like a classic comic style. I remember as very vividly, you know, he would just draw it right there on just a little piece of paper. It didn't matter what it was, and I used to just be like, Grandpa, can you do this for me? And, you know, it was amazing. And my uncle, super artistic. Yeah, he's amazing. And my father is another one who is super amazing with his skills. And I remember also, I'm pretty sure if I ask him, he doesn't know where, he's not sure where those illustrations are, but he's had quite a few pieces. And there was a specific piece that amazed me, and it was like um, a woman riding a motorcycle through the jungle, but his perspective was like, it was just amazing the way it was, and you can tell it was like super original. He didn't look at nothing that was off of his head. You seen the animals, you seen like the snakes on the tree, and tiger or something like that along those lines. I don't remember exactly to the T, but there's certain parts of it that I'm just like, yeah, I remember that. So I come from a pretty artistic lineage. Even my mom's side, my mom is super creative, and so I'm blessed to be able to inherit such a gift of art, right? And so I got to the point, I didn't go to art school. I've been a barber for like 16 years, and which is a pretty awesome art, a form of art. And that's just my bread and butter right now. That's what pays the bills. But I aspire to one day do my art full time, which is pushing me to create this YouTube channel, which is pushing me to launch a website, to market my stuff, and to just go all in. So here we are. That's a little bit of my backstory. As I was growing up, though, then I 10 years old until my teenage years, I kind of like lost how would you say it? I kind of lost that drive. I lost that drive of being creative. You get kind of caught up with friends, outside hanging out, video games, because that took a huge, which I don't think there's anything wrong with video games, but if I was more devoted to the art, I feel like it would have kept me more focused on the things that I actually love. But these are just kind of growing pains. This is trial and error, I got to the point where I didn't do it for many years. And I want to say like 2016 is when I started exploring, like taking my art to another level, kind of like expanding it and seeing like what it can do. So I went from like drawing some regular small 8x10 illustrations and fan art to like literally going all in and starting to, I had a couple of friends at the time that were in the arts, and we went to art shows together, and it introduced me to a whole another world. And I started doing art on canvases, and I started doing small commissions for fan art, but I never stood consistent. It was something that I did, and I loved it, and the idea was like there to do art full time. And I think the essential part of that time in my life was that experience was that I showed myself that I can do it. And although it wasn't the time for me to like really hone in and like dedicate my time to building a brand, I literally was I wasn't so focused on the brand at the time. I was just doing it, and I made a couple bucks. I was able to see the potential, and most importantly, I felt like just that season of my life, it just played a significant role to like today. We're talking about 10 years later, and now my life drastically changed. So my priorities, my goals, my everything changed. And I think that now it's there's no late. When it comes down to this, to creating, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you decided to go all in now and you're in your 50s, so be it. You have time. You're still here. Thank God you're still here. If you have breath in your lungs, go for it. And that's pretty much what I've been thinking about. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's just go all in. And thankfully I have a great support system. My wife is she's super supportive, and she backs me. Not only supports, but she encourages, and she loves what I do. So that's important. That's important to have that in your life. So yeah, about 10 years ago is when I really was like, okay, let's do this. I mean, I'm sorry, 10 years ago was when I kind of got my feet wet. I started going to expos, to art shows, and all that kind of stuff. I was introduced to digital art. So as far as digital art goes, I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. And my great friend Apollo, which is an amazing artist, he does 3D, which he also introduced that to me. So shout out to Apollo. And so he introduced me to this world right here. I was already doing hand drawings and paintings, and then he was just like, dude, you have to try this. And it was I didn't even know this thing existed. And then of course it made sense later on, where we were like, okay, look, this is how they do, this is the same kind of software they use to make animations for, like, the movies we see on the cartoons and all that good stuff. So yeah, simply amazing to say the least. But so this is the beginning right here for me as far as YouTube goes. As far as, like, I made a new social media, everything strictly for business. So now let me tell you about this painting that we're working on here. So I don't have a title for this yet, but, and you know what, if you guys just so happen to see this, feel free to comment below and give some suggestions for a title for this piece. So this piece symbolizes that inner child, and I do a lot of pieces like this, but this one in particular, because we're speaking about a place that I was personally at, as a child, and with my creative space and all that good stuff. I decided to do a painting that symbolized something like internal struggle, or like endurance, right? And so this symbolizes my inner child, where this is pretty much, this is what sums up like me when I am lacking in my creative space. If I don't exercise my creative space, I kind of go through a funk, kind of go through some type of, I don't want to speak depression over my life, but it's almost like an artist depression. It's like you have this huge thing inside of you, and you cannot release it. You can't exercise it. And this is a huge thing that has played a role in discouragement in my life. So yeah, that has played a significant role in my life. And that's why I started to be mindful about it. And I said, look, it's difficult for me. And if you have a family out there, whoever's listening, if you have a family at home and you are a creative, or you are an entrepreneur, or you're a hard worker in whatever you do, I know that you may have an idea of how difficult it may be to achieve these things, and not because it's anybody's fault, but it's because naturally you want to prioritize your family. So my light kind of went out, don't mind that. Anyways, so naturally you want to prioritize your family. And there was been times where, before I started waking up super early in the morning, like my wife would be like, like I would take a day or two from the week if I was off from work, and she would encourage me, like, babe, go to the studio for a bit, and I would attempt. But the problem is that if I hear, being that my studio is at home, it's a challenge, because I hear I hear the kids giving my wife a hard time, and me being home, I don't feel right just letting her kind of like need help, and I'm over here just doing my thing. I don't feel right doing that. So although I appreciated that, I had to start having a different mindset. Like, okay, how can I do this peacefully, with a fresh mind? How can I do this where I'm able to constantly exercise my creative? And so when I'm home, and I'm focused on my family stuff, and I'm present. Because another thing that happens is that sometimes you're so caught up with the mind of an artist it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at all. So I literally would, my brain will go, and I'll have another idea about something, and I just didn't want that to consume so much of my present time at home. I want to be able to tap in and play with my kids and watch a movie, and not have to have like my brain go crazy. So we're in a place now that is just simply like, I'm just so grateful for it. For like the past 4 or 5 months, I've gotten to a point where I'm waking up at 3 in the morning, and it sounds crazy, but it's discipline, and I needed to do that, and it's been the best thing since. I literally wake up, have my coffee, have my time with God, because I am a man of faith, and I just start creating. And let me tell you, it's been a whole different ball game, and this allows me to stay consistent. This allows me to be super consistent with ideas and planning, and because so under this art studio, there's many things that I plan on doing. There's many things I plan on doing, and the only way to achieve that is by time management and consistency. And so I wanted to make sure that I was literally prioritizing and managing my time. So what do we have to offer here at Artsy Studio? So my last name is Arce, ARCE, and the artsy concept was like awesome to me, because obviously the term artsy is someone who's into the arts. And so since my name is Arce, It was kind of a play off of my actual name, and it was just brilliant to me. I'm like, okay, Artsy is the brand, that's the brand, and we're gonna run with that. And it's almost like the art in my name. You can't run from that. It's part of who I am, and it's time to embrace that fully. So the intention here is to create unique, amazing work. We're gonna be having a few different things going on. We're gonna be having, let's see, I'm gonna be providing services. So I'm gonna be doing commissions, and we're gonna be doing commissions for, it could be logos for businesses, it can be original requested pieces, it could be some fan art. Definitely going to be, I'm pushing that now. I actually already had a couple local people that wanted to get some stuff, so now I'm just starting to really tap in with that. Guys, I'm sorry if I'm lagging through my words. Is because I'm literally getting adjusted to number one. As we're recording, it's 4:30 in the morning, so I'm getting used to speaking at this hour. Number one. Number two, I have never live painted and spoke at the same time, so it's like I'm multitasking, and I have to catch my brain up with what I'm doing and what I need to say. So forgive me, I will get better at this. So see, and look at that. Usually I'll have the symmetrical tool and the other side will be just as painted, but I didn't do that. So we're gonna correct this now. But that's okay. We are trial and error here. So all right, there we go. Get everything all together. These are just like shortcut tools I'm using that will kind of like speed up my process, because I can do so. There's certain pieces that I love to do, like I love to approach with a traditional approach, like stroke by stroke and work my way down. I love to do that because I love to watch the paintings come to life piece by piece. But in this case, when I'm live streaming, or when I'm or when I'm pre-recording content, I literally need to use certain tools just to make sure that the video isn't 10 hours long. So back to what I was saying about what we are going to provide. So here on the channel, I plan on going to dropping content every week and share new piece with you guys. And as we grow together, I would take requested suggestions and all that good stuff, so we can so I can be challenged, so somebody can challenge me, and I would love that, because that's gonna help me grow in my skill. So content every week. If you guys, I'm assuming you're new here because this is a new channel, but whoever who stops by, please consider subscribing here and becoming part of the journey, being part of what's going on here, and the growth of the brand. Website's almost done, so I will have quite a few things there. I'm gonna have some of my original pieces up there, my traditional canvases. I'm gonna have prints, affordable prints. I'm going to have apparel, so we're gonna have some street apparel, some streetwear, surrounded by the art brand by Artsy, and so it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited because, again, this is something that I've been wanting to do forever, and I'm doing it now. Doing it now. So, full disclosure, if any of my creatives, if there's any other artists here, I have an unorthodox approach to all my art. Okay? So don't judge me. I literally do things on the fly. Sometimes I like to explore new things. It doesn't matter how long I've been doing it for. I like to explore new things as far as, what should I do first, and that you'll see as you tune in that every approach to all my art pieces are probably going to be different, and that's okay. It gives me an opportunity to learn more of the software, and yeah. I would strongly consider to follow me on the socials. So I do have a Facebook page. I'm not active on it, but I set it up because I'm going to start doing some marketing through there. So it's there, and it's under all of the handlers are the same. So it's all Artsy Studio, TikTok, Instagram. We're out there. I even have an X, a Twitter, and I did that just because I was like kind of interested in the NFTs. I have a little bit of knowledge on crypto, and I know that the NFTs were something that was huge at one point, and I'm like, I kind of dibbled and dabbled in it, but not enough to like really do anything with it. But now I'm like, let me just kind of stay educated to see, or educate myself, I should say, just to see what opportunities may come if I launch NFT, depending on the people who start joining the channel. If anybody's into NFTs, whatever, I'm just here to learn myself. So I'm what you call learning in action. So I learn, and then I'm attempting to act on everything I'm learning as I go. So for this particular piece, what I'm doing is I'm pretty much getting my flat colors where they need to be, and then I'm gonna go in, blend some of this up, and then start adding actual brush strokes to it with some more details and all that good stuff. So also, I have been, for about 2 years now, I want to say close to 3 years, I've been working on a graphic novel, and developing like a comic universe. And it's been a journey because I love manga, I love animes. Not to the point where I like read all of them or watch all of them, but I'm such a huge fan of the art. Like, I'm such a huge fan of the art, and I literally I literally always have been inspired. I've always created my own kind of concepts for things and world ideas, designs and stuff, and these are one of the goals of mine, is to complete this. And this is another problem. Like, it's like a good problem, but it's not always good at the same time, because having too many ideas, you kind of get flustered with what idea should I do first. What should I do first to execute this? Like, for example, I had quite a few concepts for stories, for graphic novels or comics, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to intertwine all of these stories? And so instead of focusing on just getting my first story out, I overwhelm myself by thinking about all the other stories. And I'm like, let me just start with one, right? Let's just start with one. And again, that these things can play a huge role in discouragement, because you have all these ideas, you have all these great, brilliant concepts, and you get excited for it, right? And then what happens is you tend to feel like there's too much on your plate now, and then you end up just not doing any of it. And that's how so many projects eventually, like, just, we wait too long to actually go about it and just do it, that we're like, okay, it's never gonna be anything, and then we just leave it alone. And so this is another reason why, like, it's taken me so long. Mind you, there's been parts of it, like, when I'm fully devoted into, like, tapping into finishing up the story, or this one of the stories are completed. So this is it's just a matter of me getting into the illustration aspect of it and finishing the storyboard and all that stuff. And what has taken place is, it's strictly just that, like, just really just finishing it and having it done, and just kind of discipline your brain to not overthink, to not be overly consumed with what's next. Just do the first thing, make a list of things that need to be done, like a checklist, but focus on the first step. Don't focus on step 10 if step 1 hasn't even been started. And that's a huge issue of mine that I've can't, like, a struggle that I've always had to, like, deal with, and it's quite annoying, to say the least. I literally had a TikTok started for the comic universe, and I was building it up, I'm networking and all this stuff, and all of a sudden, because I felt discouraged, I deleted the whole thing. It wasn't like a crazy following, it was like 100 people, but still there was people on there that were like, they knew what I was doing. And I kicked myself in the butt for that, but at the same time, it's a learning curve. So this is why now under Artsy Studio, because there's so many different avenues for me as far as the creative space, there's so many things I want to achieve here, that I'm like, okay, well, let's establish Artsy Studio as, like, the hub, as the place for all of these things to exist, and let's do one thing at a time. So I'm like, let me break the ice with some YouTube content. Let me get in the habit of just building a community, growing with the community, and then all these other things, it will come. So I'm like, let me do this one thing at a time. My website's gonna be done. I'm gonna be promoting, doing some, like, running some ads and marketing and all that stuff for what I already have in place, and then I'm gonna continue with the graphic novel. And another thing, when it comes down to the graphic novel stuff, I've been kind of battling, right, with this concept of, like, do I do one shots? Do I do a one shot? I can't, because the story is so broad that I can't do a one shot for this particular one. Can I do a one shot of something? Absolutely. But this story is so good that I'm like, no, this needs to be something that's, like, huge, like a whole universe around it. So that's one of the issues that I've always, are stumbling blocks that I had to come across, right? Another one is the decision to make this particular one in manga style, or graphic novel style, or in traditional comic style. So that's another thing that was, like, killing my brain, because I love both styles. So I'm like, which one should I do? Again, you sit and reflect, and you not overcomplicate things. You realize you can do both. You can do both. If that's what I had to tell myself, you could do both, but choose which one of this story would fit more with. What does this particular story fit? What style? So more recently, I'm like, okay, I think we're gonna go with, like, a manga style, and then, like, when it releases, we'll do 2 variants of it. So we'll do the black and white, like, traditional manga style, and then we'll do a colored one, like a graphic novel. I'll have 2 options. And then for other stories that may not tie into the main story, we can just do it in traditional comic form. So I still haven't fully decided, of course, what to do first, but we're almost there. So my thing is, like, let me just get like, legitimizing artsy studio first, and then we'll take it to the next step. So for the style that I'm going for here is almost like a semi-realism, abstract kind of vibe here, because although it looks like a little cartoony now, I'm trying to make it a little bit more realistic. But my style of art is like a blend of, you get a little bit of everything, and definitely abstractly, because, like, I've done portraits for people that have been pretty accurate, as far as, like, how it looks, and I can do that. But personally, for my own things I'm feeling, like, passionate to paint or to illustrate, I need to have, like, something, like, distorted in a sense with the style. I can't have it to be, like, perfect. I love abstract. I love to have it look like imperfection, the imperfection in it. That's what I love to do that. What did I just do here? So this is my problem. I really got to get used to speaking and doing this, because it's interesting. And that's another thing too, like, when it comes down to, like, the comic stuff, I'm trying to develop a style that I'm happy with, that so when somebody sees it within time, they're gonna know that I did it. And that's another thing that was killing me too, because I was in development of a specific style, and I'm like, why don't I kind of just migrate my style that I do in my traditional art into the comic So yeah, you're gonna have the elements of comics and mangas or whatever it is, as far as style of the illustration goes, but it's going to have a different, like, for like, I'm gonna make an example, like Arcane. If anybody's ever seen Arcane on Netflix, I believe it's like an anime, but it's also, I can't even explain it, but the style is different. It's different. So that's what I mean by, really doing out the box stuff. So now, guys, I'm gonna start going in with some brush details, and I just decided to keep it all in one layer because I want the texture to look like, to give it that traditional look, not fully digital. See, my thing is, like, I love see, the render look is amazing, like when it's like a fully, like, digital piece, but I love the brush strokes, that painterly look. I love that in my work. even when it's a cartoony kind of thing, I love it because it just gives it a different texture. It gives it a different life, and so this is one of the main things that I definitely want to carry into the comic stuff. Once we start having some engagement, once we start growing our channel, I definitely want to start doing some giveaways. I'll do a monthly raffle. I want to do some cool stuff. I also want to give the opportunity, like, I will have original art for sale, and some pieces will be up there because of how much time and I put into it, and the the quality, the equipment. So many things play a role in it. But I also know what it's like to not have money to put into certain things. So I will have super affordable things, and I want to give back. So I'm gonna be able to do some giveaways every now and again, and some raffles. I'm thinking about maybe low rate ticket sales and having people purchase a ticket, and then your name will be drawn in a raffle, and you can win like an awesome bundle thing with like merch and friends and stuff like that. I definitely want to do that, but we're gonna wait until we really get some engagement going on. And I'm super excited for that. I'm loving all these orange tones, literally, because I'm a fall guy. I love autumn, and this is kind of giving the vibe right now, and I'm loving it. So I also plan on live streaming, right? So I was gonna live stream this morning, but I'm like, let me give myself a couple of takes of doing this for the first time before I start going live and making a fool out of myself. But see, I'm still taking action. We're here. I'm still making my efforts, and I had to break the ice one way or another. So we did this route for now, and I'm pretty happy with it. But I definitely look forward to streaming and having that true like experience of people hanging out and answering questions and taking suggestions and all that good stuff. I want to do something cool too, like I want to do like things on the fly. I think that would also challenge my skills. Like for example, if we have like people in the chat and we create like an illustration from scratch, like we create some like like an original character together, where I start sketching the form of the body, but now people choose to like give their opinion on, oh, maybe he should have these kind of features and this kind of armor and this kind of weapon and stuff like that, you know, so we can kind of build, like create the character together. I think that'll be amazing. But again, these things that will come. I'm just kind of taking this opportunity to share what I want to do here. You see, guys, like in this area, I'm getting some of the shading and using some, again, unorthodox colors. Like I'm not really doing like regular shading. I'm using different colors to do so, and my approach, like the way I'm blending and all that stuff. This is just my thing, but I'm loving it. That's the thing. We also have to, like, for my creatives out there, anything that you do, just remember that you're not gonna always be everybody's cup of tea, and that is completely fine. Don't be discouraged by that. But somebody else will appreciate your work. Somebody out there will appreciate it. But as long as you are doing what you love, that's what matters. Let me save this. I have not saved it once. All right, we're good. So as we go, there's other kind of concepts I want to go through with you guys. But to start off, I felt like this piece right here was appropriate. This concept was appropriate because of me introducing myself and just kind of displaying, putting myself out there, being vulnerable. You know, the art is such a huge role in my life, and I literally would do art if like money wasn't a thing. I would literally do art for the rest of my life. Didn't matter how old I was. Like art, I feel like when it comes to art, if you're an artist and you love what you do, there's never retiring. You know, there's never retirement. You just do it. And I could create forever. I can. And that's the goal. That's the goal here. for years I have watched so many wonderful artists on YouTube, creating a channel, creating a brand, a following, and impacting people positively. And I'm like, that's amazing. And so that's another thing that, and I'm like, I could be doing this in my own way. And I think that we all can. Just because you don't know everything doesn't mean you can't be teachable or you can't learn. I'm sorry. Just because you don't know everything, your skill level is not all the way there, doesn't mean that somebody can't learn from you. We have to realize these things, that anybody can teach me anything, and I can learn from anything. It doesn't matter if I'm more experienced in, let's just make an example, portraits, or just simply it could be anything. I'm just making an example. I can go on and I'm learning other things all the time. I'm learning how to do animation, 2D animation. And so I never learned that in school. I just self-teaching as far as the act goes, but I'm getting my education from somebody else on YouTube. That's just the way it is. I think once we as a human race can identify the aspect of us being able to learn all the time and never stop learning, you won. Because there's nothing worse than somebody who can't be teachable. You know what I'm saying? There's people out there that may have skills and may have whatever, and they think that they don't need to be taught anything. They don't need to try something new. They don't, and that's a killer. I feel like that's super unhealthy, especially for the creative. Super unhealthy. We should literally be learning every day. I don't care how long you've been doing this, been doing that, it does not matter. The more you're open to learning, the more better you're gonna get at whatever you're trying to achieve. I just don't understand that concept that some people will just have. They don't want to learn. Do you know what I always thought was fascinating? I always thought that how abstract pieces, just abstract, are probably the highest, the most expensive art in the world. And I always wondered why, right? And abstract pieces are beautiful. They're beautiful. Some people can't comprehend the expression behind it, um, and they're like, oh, it just looks like a piece of like just a slab of paint on it and splattered, and it's deeper than that, you know. Um, but not everybody can appreciate it. But what's super interesting is that it's definitely one of the most expensive types of art there is out there, and I wonder if it's because you can't emulate it, right? You can't, like, once you make one abstract piece, that's it. You can never, even if you try, you can't make it the same exact way. It's a one and done, you know. And I think that that's amazing. And I don't know. I don't know if, you know, if anybody knows why. Comment below, because I'm super interested. But I think that that's like super. It's super amazing. You know, some people may think that my art approach in this piece is like all over the place, but I warned you. I said I have a very unorthodox approach to my art. And that's okay. It's my art. And not every piece is like this as far as approach goes. I tend to just explore. I like to explore. I like to do things different and see it come together. And if you tag along long enough, you become part of the community, you'll see like there's gonna be pieces that are just pretty they look pretty accurate as far as like a traditional portrait goes and stuff like that. But again, that's boring to me, you know. I like my art to have like an edge to it. So right now we'll just add a little bit more stuff, and then part 2 we will add the finishing touches. And have it ready. Let's see if I can come up with a name. So I remember when a lot of people used to think like digital art wasn't valid. Like it wasn't valid, like versus to traditional art. But let me tell you, look at how long we've been on this video. It's the same thing that I would be doing on a canvas. It's just digital. I don't have the mess. And this is what I love about digital, because I still work on traditional pieces, don't get me wrong. And I love doing traditional too. But it's not fun with the mess. You know, cleaning the brushes, you know, the palette, letting the canvas dry. See, this right here is just, we're just going. And it's coming out how it's coming out, and I can make my corrections easier than the, you know. So I think that there's so many benefits to digital art. It's amazing. At one point I was literally like just doing digital art. I was not doing traditional no more. But I'm like, I'm kind of robbing myself, because there's something about the canvas, like the paint strokes. It's something about the canvas when it dries and it's all said and done, and it just looks beautiful. So for depending on the pieces though, there'll be some pieces that I would literally do digital, and then I'll send it out for a print, a canvas print, and then once it gets to me, I'll add real paint to it and just kind of follow what I was doing to give it that like real texture to it, and you know, making it pop. See how I'm doing this, guys? If you're still with me, I'm literally just kind of winging it. I'm not like killing myself with the techniques. I'm just flowing. Sometimes we get caught up too much with the traditional way of doing things, or like how they say you need to do it. No, it's just, yo, this is your art piece. Be free in it. You know, it's okay to explore and see what works and see what doesn't work. And like, see, I already know that next art piece video, I'm not gonna be doing the same approach. But I had to just kind of go and break the ice and start, because if not, I would have never done it. And I wanted to just kind of start talking and all this stuff. And I said I was gonna do a part 2, but I'm still going. But you know, it's one of those things that it's like, keep looking at the time, but it's still early, and I'm just gonna wing it until I'm not gonna wing it. If we don't finish it, then we'll do a part 2. It's no big deal. But if you see how the texture is and how it kind of comes together, I love that. I personally love that. And this is why nobody can tell me, like, anybody's opinion won't bother me, as far as like if it's not a positive one. And if somebody doesn't like it, it's okay, because once you develop a style that you like, that suits you and it defines you, it's not gonna matter. It won't matter. So I leave some of the I blend some of the strokes, and then there's gonna be certain parts where like I leave a hard kind of like line, and that's just to kind of break up the detail and just kind of like give different. It draws your attention, That's what I love about art. Like some points will be super detailed, and then the other parts will just be like kind of like almost like unfinished or not blended, and I feel like it just brings more depth to the painting. So glad I finally did this. I'm not gonna lie. This morning I was gonna sleep in, but every time I do, I'm grumpy, and I'm upset with myself because sleeping in right now is not gonna help me. This is not gonna help me build content. This is not. See, this is an art channel, but I also want to be vulnerable and share with people. While I'm doing my art, that about things that I've struggled with and the things that I do to help me pursue my dreams and my passion, because if I don't, then how genuine am I being? I want to be able to help people too. Like if somebody's watching this and they're like, oh wait, hold up, I have that same issue, like maybe I should try waking up early. It's tough because I was never a morning person. I couldn't do it. But now I love my mornings, and yeah, granted, I am more tired, especially a long day after work. But the hard work will pay off. The thing about starting a business is that what I'm noticing is like, if I don't, just because it has to start somewhere, and if I don't take action now and treat it like it's a business already, how can it ever get to that point, right? How are we ever gonna get there? And I tell myself that. How are we ever gonna get there? And it's like, okay, we can make excuses for ourselves all the time. Oh, I have kids. Oh, I have family. Oh, I have work. Like, it doesn't matter. We all have 24 hours in a day. What are we doing with it? Are we sleeping most of it away? Granted, there'll be a day or two during the week where I'm like, yeah, I need to catch up with rest, so I'll sleep in like an extra hour, but that's about it, But I do my best to not make that a habit, which is why I really try not to do it. But there's some times where your body needs to catch up with rest, because it's not healthy if you're kind of like running on a million and you're not resting either. You need rest. But we also don't need to sleep for 8 hours. Straight up, you don't need to sleep for 8 hours. I sleep for about 5, and I'm good. Have my coffee in the morning. I'll have my second cup when I'm out going to work. But other than that, good. But the benefit of waking up early too, though, is that it has disciplined me in a way where I'm on a better sleeping schedule. Although it's rough because I have two little ones at home, and my little ones, I have my oldest too, but he lives with his mom. And my little ones, though, if anybody has small kids, you already know how that goes. A 1-year-old, almost 4-year-old, and a 12-year-old. So my little ones at home, they can be a little crazy at night. So it could be rough, but it definitely regulates a nice sleeping pattern. And I used to struggle with insomnia so bad. And although, like, when I think about it in hindsight, I definitely feel like it played a significant role, because that was a time, like a few years ago, that was a time where I was educating myself a lot on YouTube, and I was just kind of like a student in the classroom between like at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock while my wife is sleeping. And I used to be up all hours learning about how to market products, learning how to do different art techniques. And so that was like my school time. Although I still go on YouTube when I don't know what like, if there's something that I want to do and I don't know how to do it, I still go on YouTube. But that was a time that I was less doing and more listening, and I think it played a role. But then, as we started having the kids and started regulating a bed, like a scheduled healthy sleep pattern, then now waking up super early, it's even better. We're getting somewhere, guys. We are getting somewhere. Alright, so I'm gonna be wrapping it up with the brush strokes for a minute, because I want to get some like actual shading effect. Let me cool. Let me. So what I've realized here, where I messed up today, we're always learning here. Where I actually messed up was that I had the sketch for this already done, but if I had my final outline done instead of jumping right into it like a madman, we would have been in better shape as far as time goes. But again, trial and error. And if someone has watched this all the way through, please do me a favor and just let me know. I'm interested to see if people will watch long form video like this. I know I have. I know not everybody will, because we live in a time where like short form content is where it's at, because of the fact that people's attention span is a certain way. But I'm curious to know if you did watch this all the way through, or even just up to here. I would like a comment. I would appreciate a comment to just let me know that somebody is tuning in, But I'm gonna take this specific video and I'm going to make multiple pieces of content for this, So I'm gonna have my shorts, and then I'm also gonna have a speed paint. It's gonna be a time lapse of this whole process, and yeah. I figured this would kind of get my feet wet before going live. I feel like live is a whole different ball game because it's on the spot, no editing. It's all right there, so that's fun. But it's lengthy, and it's because of how in depth this painting is getting. I take pride in like certain detailing, making sure that each art piece tells a story. And when you look at this young gentleman right here, this little fella, you see like agony and like frustration in his emotions. And I feel like that's the point here. Because I feel like when I don't exercise my creative, when I'm not doing that, when I'm not at all, Wrong color. So you see the frustration. You see, this is literally like how I feel in those times. And I think the biggest times, because a little break is okay, take a day off, whatever, but I'm talking about like I've been in places where it's been like it was weeks on end, and I wasn't myself, wasn't myself. And I feel like, especially for creatives, like you need to, this isn't just a hobby or like, to make money off of. Like, yeah, that's the goal, to make a living off of it so I can like do art full time and be more present with my family. But the biggest thing here is like just exercising a part of you, like that needs to be water. So yeah, exercising these things are essential, super essential. It's so needed, it's not even funny. And that's why I felt like this type of painting today was very symbolic and true. And every time I look at this now, I want to remind myself to never want to feel like this again. I rather create consistently and fail and not do anything with it as far as a financial aspect or whatever it may be. I much rather still be active in the act of creating rather than lacking in creating, if that makes sense. So this feeling right here is literally what I never want to feel in my life again. So now we're gonna add some shadows. Let's see what we got here. It's a little sloppy, but that's not gonna matter because I'm doing it from left to right first, and then we'll go over there and figure all that out. So when I discovered this gradient tool, this thing was like amazing. It's almost like bittersweet, right? Because when you figure out tools like this, it's like you're excited and happy, but you're also a little pissed off because you're like, I wish I had this tool, or I knew about this tool earlier on. But better late than never, right? And of course, it's a little dark, so we're gonna drop the opacity on that. Not worried about it. Before, earlier on, when I thought about doing this kind of content, I always, what the heck did I just do? I always was like worried about like people knowing my little secrets or my little failures before the art piece is complete. And that was a little ignorant of me, because there's an ugly stage to everything. If you want to grow your hair out, there's an ugly stage. Cutting hair, there's an ugly stage. You got to make that bald line before you blend it out for the fade. If you're into fitness, losing weight, it's not always pretty in the beginning. So it's like a constant thing that you're always gonna have to face. It's just the reality of things, And I now, because I'm older and I've some experience, I see the beauty in the creative aspect of it, like the beginning process and all that good stuff. And I actually enjoy watching artists on YouTube do the same thing, like just straight up doing it from the scratch, from the very, very beginning. See, there's always going to be little imperfections, and you can correct them, Some things I just leave because it just looks, like I was saying before, it leaves such a different kind of depth to the painting, and it makes it pop. See right there, that I just kind of smudged that a little too much, so I'm gonna go back and clean that up. And this is how. Back to the gradient tool. Okay, no, that's not it. So after I get all these parts, definitely lower down the opacity of it, and really see what we're working with. See how it looks. Okay, on this eye. Get under the neck here. It makes a huge difference, though, for sure. It makes a huge difference. My boy looks super exhausted. He's like, yo, I'm tired of all this. Like, get me out of here. I'm tired. All I want to do is create. And I feel you, bud. It's funny because going back to my artistic like lineage, my brother, one of my brothers from my father's side, he definitely inherited the artistic gift too, and now he's actually on his journey with developing his own brand and taking his art to the next level. So I think that that's super dope. And my oldest son, he's actually getting really good too. I'm not sure if he like exercises it as much because he's 12 and he's really into sports, but he's really dope with certain things, like especially like anime characters and faces. Like he's got it, and it's so cool and fruitful to see that. And I can't wait to see if my younger boys will inherit that too, which I'm pretty sure. I've seen already some signs, and my wife is super creative too. She does a lot with them, like, and from that family side, from my in-laws side, everybody's pretty talented one way or another too, which is super amazing. Look what I just did. I almost messed up. So let's lower the opacity to this. Yeah. I think we're gonna be good right there. I don't know. I think I dropped it too much. So I'm gonna do a couple more things. We're gonna do another shadow, but we're gonna go behind him. So we're gonna take the airbrush for this one. Actually, this is what we're gonna do. Things are always tedious if I let go too fast. Alright, you know what? Try again. This is just to give it more depth. I think that's the word of the video today. Depth. So this is gonna be all behind him. So we're gonna try with gradient, see what we get. If not, we're gonna do the airbrush. Not sure. I think that I'm going to just freehand it actually. So let's alright, so we're gonna take the airbrush. Way too big, ridiculous. I'm doing a mural here, right? This is not the proper brush, okay? So yeah, I think we have a better bet with doing something soft like this, where it gives it the effect of a back shadow, but not too in depth. I think that's a slight bit more realistic, right? So this eraser, just not. So you know what, guys? I think we're almost done. I'm gonna leave it as is. I feel like there's like a natural. I don't know. I like it, and I actually even like the sketch marks in it. I really do. There's something about it. And so we're just gonna throw some highlights now on top of everything, and we're gonna call it a day. It's Afterglow. Usually I'm more, when I'm like get hired for commissions, I'm more mindful about being organized, you know? But for the sake of the video, I'm kind of going on the fly. We're just throwing a little glow highlights to it just to make it pop. Let's see if this is better. I'm gonna tell you guys right now though, there could have been so much more done to this, but I'm happy where it's at, and I can spend another 3 hours on it, but I'm not gonna. I think it's pretty cool where it's at, and sometimes it's okay to leave it. You know, there was a painting I did, a traditional painting I did, actually, about a year ago. And I loved the way it was coming out. I was super excited about it. And I ended up doing too much to it. Too much. And I ruined it. And I just ruined it. Like, a lot of people like it. I ruined it for myself because I saw the potential in it. And sometimes it doesn't need all the extras. It doesn't. It can just simply be what it's supposed to be, and it should be left alone. And that's okay. Now, again, this attitude changes if somebody hires me, because the vision isn't for me. The vision is for the person who's hiring, whoever who's hiring for a specific piece for themselves. That it's different, super different. But when it's for me and I'm just doing this for content, it's totally different. Either way, I'm still happy with it. So now I'm gonna just do some of this. See, in this part, I love. I love doing like out the box stuff, like just kind of like scribbles in certain areas. What's interesting about this piece? What's interesting about this piece too, as I'm go, it tells more of a deeper story. Like, it started off with a saddened, frustrated inner child who can't express his creative, so he's stuck in this like funk, right? But as I add these glow touches to it, it almost gives it like the story's not over for him yet. That he's frustrated now because he can't release these emotions, or this creative, this expressive this expressive outlet. Like he can't do it. But the little glow that I'm adding to it gives it a sense of like that he still has it in him. It just hasn't fully been emerged. It hasn't came all the way through yet, so I think that that's awesome, because as I'm doing it, it's talking to me. It's like literally giving me more, and I relate more to it. It's beautiful. See, I do silly stuff like that, but it does something to it. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I love it. And I'm using the eraser to kind of just break up some of the glow. And then I'll grab the airbrush. So there we go. We're gonna stop it there. So, although that was a long video, whoever who stopped by to just chat with me, hang out with me, I appreciate it. This was a big step for me. And I'm just super excited for where I'm personally going with my art. And I just want to share that with the world and hopefully inspire somebody. So, if you found something good about this video, please comment and share that with me. And it'll just fuel and continue to push forward with the mission here. So I hope everyone is blessed, and I appreciate you stopping in. Consider subscribing, and if you like this painting that I did, I will have prints available soon when the website launches. We will have prints available. So thank you so much. Blessings.